Alli Koch, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing all right. I appreciate you coming on today and sharing your story with the creative community.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so am I. I'm excited for this one. Let me give the audience a brief introduction here for you so they kind of get a feel for who you are before we jump into all the questions and stuff. You are a prolific author. You published over 18 best-selling art books, including How to Draw Modern Florals and How to Draw All the Things for Kids. And you also have three more on the way.
Yeah.
You're a renowned muralist and visual designer, known for floral designs and murals across the U.S. Entrepreneur and founder, you launched Alli Koch Design, a visual design company, which you started right out of college.
Mhm.
Um, you're a mentor and arts business coach where you offer mentoring to help other artists build confidence and grow their art businesses. And you're also a credible collaborator, having worked with major brands and clients such as Lowe's, Hilton, IBM, Lululemon, Live Nation, The Container Store, Fossil, and I could probably just keep going on. You are very accomplished and do some amazing work as I've been following you as of late.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It is weird to like hear all of that from other people because it's like this is just like, yeah, I've done that. And that's over like the course of years. Uh,
Yes.
so it seems like it's gone fast, but also it seems like it's been years for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get it. That's why I try to do the intro for the guests because I don't want to have to put that pressure on them to try and remember or just relate all those things out.
Truly, like if someone was like, okay, what's your elevator pitch? I'd be like, like it's one of the worst questions I ask because I'm like,
Same.
well, it depends on the day. Like, I don't know. Like, what season are we in?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I don't have a whole lot of structure to this. It's more or less intuitive guidance just based on conversation that we're having. Um, and the only scripted question I have is always the first one. And that just takes us back in time to where were you born and what was life like as a kid for Allie?
This is interesting because I have a lot of recent family things that have happened. And so I've been like diving deep into like Allie and younger Allie and how she grew up and
Yeah.
whatnot. So I am now I need to like figure out like how deep can I go into this because I haven't talked about this publicly like at all.
Okay.
I am 34. I was born on the first day of spring, which I feel like is a little fitting because I love florals, and that's probably like what I'm known for the most is when most people think about me, they think of my black and white florals. I've definitely expanded ever since then. But yeah, I grew up in a family. I have a brother and a mom and a dad. And I really didn't ask like everything I asked for, I was always given, and I
Okay.
there was nothing that I like never was out of. So I feel like probably window looking in is probably a nice cul-de-sac kid, just grew up in the church and all that
Okay.
stuff. I doodled like as far as like art stuff, I doodled on anything and everything, but I never really had a I didn't go to school for what I'm doing now. I went
Okay.
to school for marketing of all things. Well, I take it back. So I went to school for interior design and I thought that that's what I wanted to do. And I'll never forget I typically like when I'm on podcasts, I'm gonna scroll a moment. I'm like, oh, I have to hurry up and finish these. But like I can also make a short story so long. So I'm just gonna do that. I'll probably just ramble and have squirrel moments. So this is probably like my favorite. This is gonna be my favorite type of day. So I went to school for interior design, and I will never forget. My mom was like redoing our closets, and the girl I lived with my parents majority of the my college career. And so I'm in my house and I'm in my room and I have a drafting table because I'm interior design student at the moment. And this girl walks in, she's like, "Oh my gosh, are you architect?" I was like, "No, interior design." I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm interior design as well." That's what I went to school for. I went to the most prestigious, like at the moment, like the school that I wanted to go to. I can't remember what the acronym was. It was like AISD or something.
AIDT.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, hold on, you went there, but you're now designing closets. I'm like, and this is like, I probably was on an all-nighter. Like, I have never done any all-nighters as much as I did that like first year of college. Just like being a over perfectionist of just if I smudged it, I would be like, it's done, it's over. I have to redo the whole thing. I would redo the whole thing if I had just like the tiniest bit of smudge on my
Right.
projects. And so I was like,
So
okay,
let me put a pin in that for you,
yeah,
and let's go back a little bit further
okay,
before we get to college.
okay, let's
Let's
go.
let's go back to elementary school.
Elementary school. Okay.
Were you one of the kids that wanted to sit towards the back of the class and not really be noticed, or were you one of the kids that wanted to be up front and make sure you answered all the teacher's questions?
All the teachers' questions. I was the teacher's pet every single year, no matter what. No matter what teacher was, I was the teacher's pet. There's every teacher, fourth grade, I guess that's elementary school, second grade. Like I vividly remember those relationships that I had with him. Like there was, I'm pretty sure it was either fourth or fifth grade. My teacher, we would have like a second recess, and I chose to not do that second recess and stay. It was like me and like three other girls, and we'd stay in this class and just like hang out with our teacher and clean. We would clean her classroom and just hang out with him. It was just like the most fun time to just have that like one-on-one experience with this older at the time like mentor um,
Right.
friend and whatnot. So yeah, I was teacher's pet for sure. And
Okay.
any opportunity, yeah.
And so, um, looking at those friends that you had, was it fairly easy for you to garner those types of friends that you were hung out with?
Friends are tricky, and it's one of those things that I have to like I'm diving deep in my personal therapy sessions. I always had friends, but I never had like a best friend. I was definitely the friend that I could fit in with in any kind of group. Um,
Yeah.
but I never was like I never had like a solid group of like, okay, this is my like best friend for life or whatnot. It was more of like best friends in seasons. Uh,
Yeah.
never never really had like a really long best friend over the course of years.
Gotcha. Would you consider yourself to be an adapter then, from
Ooh,
that angle of being
I,
able to just maneuver?
yes, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. What type of work did your dad do as when you were a kid?
He was when he met my mom, he had his own architectural firm.
Okay.
And so he's super creative in that sense of building entrepreneurship, but also like the creativeness that architecture comes with. But he met my mom, and my mom was a little more like, okay, we need like insurance and like savings, and I need a more stable like income type of thing. So he started doing, man, he's had so many jobs within like the course of my 34 years. So he started off with that. Then he did like displays, like, you know, like the end of grocery store cardboard displays. He
Yeah.
worked there. There was a time where he was like out of work for a whole year, and I'd had no idea. I like just recently found this out. I was like, what did you do that whole year? He was like, I just went to a coffee shop or just met with people and networked and like all this stuff. I was like, had no idea because he never was like home or like
Yeah.
around. He was just, he would leave just like he would normally leave. It was crazy.
Wow.
But now, well, then he like switched and it did consulting. and essentially it's called like PIL, like Partners in Leadership. He did that for years and years and years. Essentially just building leadership and accountability with the higher levels of businesses. And
Okay.
he still kind of does that now. I feel like he hates the word consulting, but it's essentially like the easiest word that normal people can do. But coaching, consulting, things like that with Fortune 500 companies. So
Gotcha.
he's pretty
Okay.
cool.
And was Mama a stay-at-home mom, or did she work as well?
Yeah, she was a stay-at-home mom.
All right.
Yeah.
How about grandparents? Did you have much connection with your grandparents as a little girl?
Yeah, on my mom's side, my mom would send us to my grandparents like every summer for years. And
Mm,
probably even more so like in between. Like we only lived, she lived in Waco, like we lived in Dallas, so it was like 2 hours away. And so she would drop us off at grandparents' house as much as she could just to, I guess, take a break or whatnot. But yeah, it was great because all the cousins were also like there.
yeah.
So we would all just kind of like, everyone were just like, okay, we're just going to drop the kids off. And so it was fun hanging out with all of them and whatnot. So,
Yeah, I had a similar type of experience, except my mom always went with us. Both sides of my family are from East Tennessee.
oh, cool.
So all my grandparents and cousins and aunts and uncles, they're all there.
Yeah.
So us being in Michigan, we came up here, or my mom and dad came up here actually, um, because of the auto industry. My dad was a mechanic,
Cool.
so it was easy for him to get work up here versus being in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And then when I was born, we'd end up taking trips back and forth for the holidays and summer times and stuff like that, and stay down there for 3 to 4 weeks, just depending on what time of the year it was. So I kind
Yeah,
of get that scenario of being around grandparents at particular points in time
for sure.
throughout the
One of
year.
my like most vivid childhood memories, I think, is
Yeah.
being over there. Yeah.
Did you find a comfort in being in that household?
My grandparents' house, or
Yeah.
yeah, I think so. I think it's like one of those like with any grandparents, like you're not having to like worry about getting in trouble with your parents. Like your grandparents don't like punish you, so you could like had the run of the house. Um,
Yeah.
so it was yeah, it was something different every week. Like it was great. So
Yeah. And did any of the grandparents have that creative flair either?
um no, I think the only my dad, honestly, like thinking like back at it, because it's like, is it my aunts or uncles or like who is really creative? But really, it's just really my dad that has that kind of like creative side. There's not anyone that, like my brother's creative in music. He is just
Oh,
insanely talented in the music field. Like he can like listen to a song and then just like start playing it. I'm just like, I do not have that whatsoever. But he can also like paint and draw. Like he's insane. But I'm like, where did the music come from? Like no one in our family, even in like extended family, is anywhere close to like being like creative. But also that could be like maybe they just didn't push themselves to do that. I feel like
sure.
we had so my mom, they grew up essentially like both my parents grew up essentially like poor. Like my dad like always
Yeah.
jokes essentially like, oh, we lived on the other side of the tracks and
Right.
whatnot. And so I think and even so like my aunts and uncles and cousins, like we definitely were the most well off out of all of my extended family. And so maybe that was a reason why we were able to kind of have a little bit more freedom of extracurricular activities and going and doing whatever. Essentially, like if I wanted to be like, hey, I want to do this art camp, my parents like, okay, go to this art camp or Girl Scouts or things like that. Whereas I don't think any of my cousins or aunts and uncles had the privilege of being able to do that. So who knows if they're creative, but yeah, we're the only ones in our family that have kind of gotten that creative gene. But
Yeah. I again, I can relate. My family is probably lower class to lower middle class.
mhm,
There wasn't a whole lot as a kid that I had an example of where it was middle class, upper middle class type scenarios.
yeah.
So I can relate. And two, it's interesting because for me, I didn't really see. I had one cousin that was into floral design for a while as I
Mhm.
was growing up, but I didn't really see any artists.
Same. It was always like the starving artist mentality. I think that's probably like the when I talk about my story, like I hit on that pretty hard in a sense of we grew up. So I was born in 1991, graduated high school in 2009, but in that realm of going to school and growing up, like yes, my dad had his own company, but he honestly really didn't think about it or like talk about it. And it just kind of was one of those, I don't know if I was just like too naive to be like, oh yeah, dad had his own company. It just kind of like went through one ear and out the other. But
Yeah,
growing up, entrepreneurial life did not look like it did today. Like it just wasn't existent. I felt like if you were to own your own business, you had to be like on Shark Tank or have a lot of capital
yeah,
or you had to own a storefront. That's what in my mind was like, oh, if you wanted to own your business, you had to do that. And so an art business, forget about it. Like art is a hobby essentially.
yeah,
So we can get to that story after college, but
yeah, yeah,
yeah, we just never, art was always just a hobby. And my mom was like crafty and things like that, but it was never like art like we see today.
yeah. You mentioned too that you grew up in the church. Did you guys go to church regularly in terms of like every Sunday or every
Oh,
Wednesday, Sunday
yeah.
evenings, all of them?
Yeah, it almost to a detriment. Um, like now, like I don't go to church now. Um,
Same
I
here.
yeah, I don't know, and it's one of those things where it's a weird topic. It's like you ask Jesus into your heart, right? But like I never like asked Jesus to get out of my heart. So it's like it's I'm not like an atheist or anything. It's just like
That's a cool perspective.
yeah, yeah. One of my friends said that. I was like, dang, that is so true. Like, yeah, it's just he was invited in, but he just hasn't left. Like, I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, it's one of those things where I feel like if we had more of a choice, I would probably have a better relationship with church and with religion.
Yeah.
Growing up, it was so forced on us that it kind of left some scars
Yeah.
and just a bad taste in my mouth. But the church is like that's where I met my husband. Now, like we met when we were 14,
Oh
and
wow.
yeah, we've been together ever since. And so we met at church camp the summer, eighth grade, going into high school, and we started dating like the first year of high school, and we've been
Been
together
together
ever
since.
since. So it's like I can't hate the church too much because it
Right.
definitely gave me the life that I have now. But yeah, there's a lot of things that I am thankful for the church, but also like just a little pissed off about the church. Like I think my parents definitely um used it as I don't know if they used it as a clutch, but they definitely use church as a lot of like help like raising us essentially.
Sure.
And we're just like, hey, like, oh, they'll be great. We'll just put them in church and they'll learn all of the goods and bads. But man, the church can be so black and white. Like it was never gray. And my
Yeah.
personality, I I'm a very black and white type of person. And so I'm learning to be more gray in different aspects of my life. And so it was very hard on me and my brother going through that, and just not, no one in my family wanted to be judged. Um,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that was really hard. And so we would suppress a lot of things so we weren't judged. And
Yeah.
that just wasn't healthy. So it's all coming
Oh,
out
absolutely.
now, but we're working through it, and we're all stronger for it, and learning and things that we can cope and heal from those
Yeah.
childhood dramas. But yeah.
Yeah. Again, I can relate. Um, I went to public school up into third grade, and then at that point, the church that my parents were taking us to, we didn't really go to church a whole lot. Um, in like kindergarten, first grade, second grade, um, third grade, they started going more, and then by the fourth grade year, the church was going to have their own Christian school open up.
Mhm.
And so my parents pulled me out of public school and had me go to the Christian school, and it was a K through 12 combined. I think the first year that they were open, there was only 30 students from K through 12.
Wow.
Um, yeah, so it was kind of strange from that perspective of you
Yeah.
know, and it was also an ACE school, which is ACE stands for Accelerated Christian Education, which is a program that the college that I went to for a short period of time, Pensacola Christian, they were developing some of those curriculums. And so it was basically self
Guinea
study.
pig. Yeah.
Yeah, self study, um, all that kind of stuff. So I would be in the same classroom as a senior, essentially.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And so I kind of have this similar relationship with the church. I've seen far too much hypocrisy that's taken place over the years, and
Yeah,
you know
unfortunately.
being told you need to do this and that, and all you're seeing is everybody essentially going against it. Now granted, there was plenty of them that were going in the right direction that I looked up to and I respected them,
Right.
but there was the others that were in leadership roles that were doing the exact opposite of everything they were saying. It was like, what is this? I don't understand. It's like I'm not getting the whole truth ever. I'm only getting half truths.
Right.
So I've had to do a lot of work in that area as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, but I've got to a place of kind of that same scenario of Christ didn't ever leave much heart. So
Right. Right.
I love that you said that, because it's like, why do I need to have him come in again?
Right. Right. Yeah. You're just
Um,
hanging out. Yeah.
yeah. So what I've been able to develop is more of a spiritual mindset and practice, especially with my creativity. I feel
Yeah.
that it's a spiritual practice being creative, anyways,
For sure.
with whatever form it is, whether it's art, music, fashion,
Hmm.
acting, theater, dance, all of it, I feel is creative and spiritual in the same breath. So, with being in elementary school and having these teachers that are kind of guiding you in a way that's encouraging and allowing you to move without a whole lot of difficulty, so to speak, at that point in time. Did you find any of that outside of elementary school? You mentioned Girl Scouts, so
Right.
something like that was a similar
As
scenario.
far as like an adult relationship, or no, I feel like I clung quickly to my teachers. Trying to think. I really don't think so. Like I said, like I liked my Sunday school teachers, depending on who they were.
Yeah,
Um, and there are some that I, I think more so in high school made a bigger impact. Um, And now looking at it, like we really weren't that. It's so weird. Like when you're younger, you think like 30 looks so old, right? Like even like 25, when you're
Yeah.
young, like, oh my gosh, they're so old, they're adults. And then now I'm like 34 and I'm like, I do not feel that old. But like there wasn't like in high school, we really weren't that like there was like a 4 or 5 years age difference with some of like my Sunday school teachers. And so those I kind of clung on to a little bit more than like the older ones. But I also am like an old soul too. So I really loved I kind of like my second grandparents essentially I had relationships with that. But elementary school, no, not really. I feel like it would be more just so the teachers I was like super close with and clung to and wanted to.
Okay. From that old soul perspective, because I've had that sense about you
Yeah.
before we even started having this conversation. Um, did you have a sense early on as a child that you could perceive things somewhat differently than maybe what others were perceiving it?
I think I'm definitely very aware. I can like read people's emotions very easily. Um, I am a people pleaser, again, almost to a default. It's probably like my strength and also weakness.
Yeah,
And so I feel like I have a pretty good tune to other people as far as like what they're needing, what they're feeling,
right.
how can I help type of thing.
Yeah.
So I would say yes, short answer. Yeah.
Okay. How about any athleticism within those bones?
Oh man, I try. Growing up, there was a Brady Bunch episode where Marsha gets thrown a football and then gets hit in the head and like breaks her nose or something. And
Yeah.
that, and for some reason, just traumatized me growing up. And so
Okay.
I'm like, dang, like there were definitely nights where I remember just like hanging out with the kids in the cul-de-sac, throwing a football and whatnot. And one time when I was like in fifth grade that we played kickball and I got a home run. And so it's like it comes out a little bit of like little precious moments, but I would say I'm not like it doesn't um like I hate working out, but I know that I have to work out. It's not one of those things that like excites me, like, yes, I have to
Right.
work out type of thing. Like I
Yeah.
I joke all the time with all my friends that it's like I am probably the least competitive person. I just want to have fun. Like, so if we're having fun and we're doing something of an activity or that is athletic, I will
Yeah.
still do it knowing that everyone else is having fun type of thing. So
Got you. Interesting. What's your astrological sign?
I'm a Pisces, but I'm a cusp. I'm a March 20th, so it's like Pisces, Aries, cusp.
Okay. Interesting. Water and air,
Yeah, yeah,
movement,
yeah,
flow.
yes. Essentially all of the things.
Yeah, yeah. Um, all right. Slipping into middle school.
Okay.
Did you feel like there was a huge contrast in classroom dynamic going into middle school? Because middle school is where everything seems to start to change. Hormones are starting to kick in for everybody. Um, Groups are starting to even form more so and fraction off in different areas. Was that a scenario where you kind of sensed that and felt that?
Middle school was hard for me because I was moved every year for middle
Oh,
school.
wow.
Yeah. So I essentially had to restart every year in middle school.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Yeah. Which was hard, but I seemed to come out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, with that, did was it like a long distances between the school moves?
Um, One of them was just a like town, and so it was a different ISD. So I still had the friends that I made like in church, or I was cheering at the time. So I would have like a
Okay.
cheer squad, um, friends, but I never actually like hung out with any of my cheer squad friends outside of cheer squad. Thinking about that now. So there was that. And then we moved to Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And that was, again, my parents found a church and we just dove head into that church and I made a really good friend there. Um, but as far as like school, but she was older, which was again
Okay.
old soul.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was I didn't hang out with any of the people my age.
Right.
Middle school, or in Pennsylvania, I hung out with all of the older kids. So when you go to school and then you're stuck with people your age, I don't think I hung out with anyone or talked
Right.
to anyone those couple of years.
Well,
And
that's a long distance from Texas to
oh yeah,
Pennsylvania.
yeah,
Completely different topography,
yes,
weather systems,
yeah,
all that kind of stuff.
yes, yes, yeah.
Was it difficult to have to live with those changing of the seasons being so different?
I think as a kid, was it's kind of one of those like, ooh, this is new. Like I get to experience all the seasons, whereas like growing up in Texas, like you don't experience any of the seasons. So it was
Right.
great for like I think we were there for a little over a year and a half.
Okay.
And so again, now I'm like really thinking back of those like years. Like my friends in school were my teachers. Like that's who I talked to, um,
Yeah.
and whatnot. So that's really crazy to think about. But yeah, it was fun for when what it was. Well, at least
Yeah.
otherwise. And then again, it was just we hung out in the church, and those were my friends, the people that we made friends with at church, and those are who I hung out with. And so,
Right. Were your were your parents like involved in the church, like maybe Sunday school teachers or deacons and different things
yeah,
like that?
yeah, my dad always taught a Sunday school class for like the
Okay.
younger adults,
Gotcha.
but
All right.
never was like involved in like the kids area. Like they kind of they did their own thing, and then they're like, all right, kids, y'all go do y'all's thing and whatnot.
Right. Okay. And had you started high school in Pennsylvania, or did you guys move back to Texas before you started high school?
No, we moved back to Texas. The halfway towards the end of eighth grade.
Okay.
So like it wasn't enough time for me to like really meet anyone, to get a good enough relationship for high school. And so my mom was like, you need to make more friends. We're gonna send you to church camp. Never been to this church. It was just one of those like my mom would always constantly like find church camps or VBSs and things like that and just
Yeah.
send us to those places, even though if we weren't a part of that church, she just like, you can
Oh
go
wow.
and have a good time. So my mom's like, you need more friends before you get to high school. We're gonna send you to this church camp. And so I went, and that's where I met my husband. I sat in front of him on the school bus or tour bus, and that's where
Yeah.
we met. So thanks, Mom, for
Interesting.
forcing me to go to church camp, I guess.
Right. That was the bonus piece out of it. Yeah.
Right, right.
Um, so I, I'm trying to understand the mindset of having to not be able to finish
Mm,
eighth grade in Pennsylvania and get sent back to Texas, or not sent, but moved back to Texas,
right.
and then try to have to finish eighth grade at that point. Was that a bit of a struggle, or were you far enough ahead
I think that
academically?
I didn't have any deep connections or friendships in Pennsylvania to be like, no, I need to stay.
Okay.
I think I was a little bit more excited because I did have some childhood friends before. We never went to the same school, but I still would talk and hang out in church or whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, and so thinking that I would be able to like go back and do that with them and hang out with them. So and it was like right after winter, and so I was like, all right, great, let's. It's one winter is great, but I don't know if I could do multiple winters. Yeah,
Yes. I hate winters.
yeah. Oh gosh, you're.
I always have hated them.
Yeah, no, I cannot. Yeah, yeah. That's why I live in the South.
Um, so once you meet your now husband at
Mhm.
this church camp, was it a scenario that once you left church camp, you were able to connect because of school, or was it church that was still a potential connection?
So we ended up being obviously. I was like, okay, well, now we have to go to this church because I'm like crushing on this new boy, right? So I like essentially told my parents, they're like, well, this is the church I want to go to. And so they got connected in that
Okay,
church. And we were going to the same high school, which is also like a bonus. And
right.
so, yeah, it was nice. There were other girls as well that were part of the church camp that also were going to high school. So going into high school was a little less scary, knowing that
Okay,
I had some people that I could like look at and be like, "Hey, I know you," type of thing. So
right, right. And once you got into that environment, did you continue to do cheer?
I did cheer. I did get back into cheer when I got back. I think that's kind of another one of those things where my mom's like, okay, do church and like, okay, do cheer, make some friends, or like that is like your social activity. We always had to have at least like one social activity. My
Okay.
brother did, honestly, don't even know like what really my brother did. It's really sad. That could be like a whole other podcast. Um, but yeah, so that was always like mine. So we did cheer, but it was a very short year. I only did that one year, and once I started high school, I stopped doing it.
Okay. What's the age difference between you and your brother?
4 years
Younger or older?
younger.
He's younger.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that makes some sense as to why you may not have
Yeah.
remembered everything that
It's
he was
like one
doing.
of those like it's a whole like we've never went to school together. Um,
Yeah.
and it's just completely different like age gap, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I have an older sister that's 7 years older. But she was from my father's first marriage,
Got it.
and she always lived in Tennessee with her mom.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get to see her until we would go down on vacation or for the summers and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but I always felt like super close to her, even though,
Oh,
and that
that's
may just be like you looking up to the older sister
right.
kind of
Right. Yeah.
thing. And then later on, I have a younger sister that's 9 years younger than me.
Wow.
So I
Like
essentially
almost
kind
a
of
whole
helped,
decade. Yeah.
yeah, helped raise her
Right. Right.
just because I was that much older.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I understand there's bits and pieces of my even memory of my sisters where it's like I don't remember what they were doing during that certain period of time. I know what I was doing, but I don't
Right.
remember what
Same.
they were doing.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, as you're into high school,
Hmm.
you've got this boyfriend, and he's
Yeah.
kind of like your world at that point.
Oh, I was smitten. Yeah.
Are you guys basically inseparable and trying to schedule classes that are the same, even, or
I
were they
think
different?
yeah. I think I was. He was probably one of those like more like too cool for school. Like I'm
Uh,
cool type of person. Like I remember I would like see like where his classes were and like go even if it was like not the same route, I would like try to like pass him in the hallway to like say hi,
yeah,
uh, and whatnot. Because there was like a good like 6 months where like we were like friends and we would all hang out together, but like we weren't like official. Uh,
yeah,
And so like once we were official, it was a lot. We were trying to find each other, but like those first 6 months, I was like, okay, where's Lane? And let's cross paths and like say hi and stuff
Yeah,
like that. But yeah, it was we pretty much hung out all the time. Yeah.
gotcha. And with some of those teachers in high school as well, compared to some of the, elementary and
Oh,
junior high stuff.
all the time, every time. I have never gone a school year without having like a favorite teacher or a teacher that became a friend and whatnot.
Okay.
Even in college. Like
Really?
one of
Okay.
my yeah, like I invited one of my favorite professors in college to my wedding. Like,
Nice.
yes. Yeah.
Very cool. It's I think it's always wonderful when I'm having an interview and I get to see that within the guests that they've had those positive influences from people in the schooling environment.
Yeah.
Because I think it impacts the individual so much in terms of what they end up dealing with through the rest of their life. They never don't have the ability to snap off the name real fast. I
Right.
remember this
Yeah.
one. I
Yeah.
remember that one.
Yes. And I don't
Um,
know if it was like people pleasing, and it probably could be like at the extreme of like, okay, I need my teacher to like me so much that I'm going um to be friends and
yeah.
good grades and ask if I can help or things like that. But they saw that, but then they also like poured so much into me. I don't know if they just saw my hard work and they're like, oh, this girl hard is just such a hard worker. Like, yeah, I'm going to cling to that because I'm sure that they just get people that just like don't care or
Oh, yeah.
and just phone it in. But yeah, one of
Right.
my favorite sayings that my dad has taught me was just like people won't care unless they know that you care. He taught me that from a very, very young age. And so I feel like that's what I try to pour into like just trying to care as much for them as a human, but also them as just a teacher. And same with friends and whatnot. And so I think that's why it was just a mutual beneficial relationship of mentor, mentee helping. And I have dyslexia. And so
Okay.
going through school, it definitely was a big challenge. And so I think it's always in all of my charts of that. And there was through middle school and elementary school, I was always in like the dyslexic program, um, going through all of that. So it probably was just like having that extra help was all, I always had to ask for the extra help and
Uh-huh.
tutoring and things like that. And so yeah, could
They
cling on
provide.
to those teachers and provide those extra help. Yeah.
Did that affect you mentally to the point where you felt um, out of place or completely different?
I don't know so much completely different. It definitely wasn't something that normal kids either had or talked about or whatnot. It was more frustrating in that sense.
Okay.
So I would just stumble on words or like couldn't like I could think about it, but like wouldn't come out of my mouth and back then everyone's like, "Oh, you're so cute, Allie." Like, "Oh, that's so cute." But yeah, I tried to either not think about it and just like let it be and just ask for help and like ask for extra tutoring versus
Yeah.
it being a clutch essentially.
Right. Yeah, I had difficulty reading
Yeah.
as well. I don't know that I had I almost feel like I have dyslexia now
Yeah, you
because
could. You possibly could.
when I'm typing like an email or whatever, like I'm always switching letters
Yeah, you definitely, yes.
and I'm like, what is happening? Like
Right.
I don't
All the time. All the time. Yeah. Yeah. Probably
yeah,
a high probability that you do. Especially if you have a
pro-
hard time reading. Yeah.
yes. When I would try reading, I would read like three sentences
Mm-hmm.
and would end up reading the second and the third sentence all over again
Yep.
and then finally realize, wait, I just read that.
Yeah, right.
and lose my place. Like
Yeah.
then I have to go back to the first sentence, which was the
Yep.
one that I remembered,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
then start reading through and try to focus really hard. All right, I got to make sure I'm going
Yeah.
word by word.
Word by word, right?
Yeah. Um, there's another element of your story and your personality type as you're explaining it that I want to see if this might be true to your circumstance. And it is the fact that you are consistently saying that you're the people pleaser.
Yes.
Was there a specific thing at home that may have caused you to feel like you needed to do that a little bit more so?
I don't know if it is like remember I was saying like we grew up in the church and church
Yeah.
can be very judgmental, which is so unfortunate because like that's where you would think that you would go to not be judged.
Right.
But I was felt like we were constantly judged.
Okay.
So I think it was a mixture of that and then my parents didn't want to be judged because they were essentially growing up in the church as well,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, with those same feelings. And so it's one of those things where I wish my parents had a bigger backbone in a sense of like, okay, this is
Yeah. Yeah.
church, and yes, these are what sins are and things like that, and the commandments and all the things that the church taught us and of what was right and wrong. But I wish my parents would have seen earlier that again there can be so much gray in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so my brother had a really hard time growing up, and essentially like we had to send him to wilderness, which if you don't know like what that is, it's essentially like this like intensive program for addiction. You're sent to the wilderness and you have to just it's intense therapy
Yeah.
going out there. And so when that happened, it was so scary, but also the biggest blessing for my parents and for our family unit because essentially kind of popped the bubble.
Okay.
And because my parents also had to go through counseling in that sense. And like they had to do counseling individually, together, and then with my brother, and then as a family. Like it was just a crazy year of healing for us. Um,
Yeah.
but and that happened when I was in high school. And I just really wish that not my brother being going through that and having to do that, but I just wish that we would have had that like family healing earlier in a sense
Right.
that like since then I felt like I could become the person that I wanted to be versus like what my parents thought I should be because of what the church thought that we should be
Yeah.
type of thing. So I think that's probably where my people pleasing started was that I just wanted to
Okay.
make sure that the church accepted me, which then my parents accepted me because the church accepted us and like all of this like non-judgmental
Yeah.
way. And so it was really hard. It still is hard to talk about and break through mentally of
Right.
that, but it's gotten a lot better.
I'm glad. I'm glad. Yeah, it's difficult, especially when you live kind of in that Bible Belt
Yeah.
throughout the United States,
Hmm.
because it's so ingrained in the culture that you almost can't not experience it from one side or the other at certain points in time. Um, and another thing that I'm seeing that's potentially a characteristic of your brother is that you mentioned earlier that he was very creative, could play
Yeah.
music, get into art and stuff like that. And I'm guessing this is probably true with you as well. That being more sensitive
Hmm.
as a creative to things, the external world always affects us
Oh,
seemingly
so much.
more so.
Yes, so much. Yeah.
Yeah, and I could see where the possibility of him getting into some addictive things
Yeah.
um, was just a component of him trying to soothe some of that or not feel some of
Yeah.
that external stuff.
Oh, for sure. And there's a lot of me being the older child, and because I was such a big people pleaser, like it was, I needed to excel at everything to the max and perfectionism, all that stuff. And so I kind of set the bar high. My brother, he kind of rebelled and he thought that he couldn't reach
Okay.
my potential. So that there was that aspect of it. But also, I think he did rebel in a sense of like he felt like that was his way of getting attention um, and whatnot. So yeah, lots of things to unpack there for sure.
Yeah, I
But
get it.
yeah, yeah, the people pleasing is I'm working on it, but it's definitely a deep engraved.
Well, yeah, it's a process.
Yeah,
It's an ongoing process,
yeah.
especially once you're able to recognize it,
Hmm.
and then you start working on it. It
Hmm.
just becomes a process that you just have to keep up with.
But
Um,
it's definitely like it affects my art and my business so, like tremendously. Like
yeah,
I want so badly to because right now I do murals and books and things like that, but everything is so corporate, right? It's
yeah,
a client reaches out to me, they say, "Hey, we want a mural," and they kind of give me a little bit of guidelines of like what they want and what they need, and so that essentially then is like I'm pleasing that person, I'm solving this problem,
right,
I'm doing that,
yeah,
and I so badly want to be more of like air quotes fine artist to where I can like sit and work on a canvas and it's not for anyone,
right.
but I just can't do it because of it's just like I guess it's so hard to like people please myself essentially.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. I believe me,
Yeah.
I get that.
It's hard. It's so
It
hard.
is.
Yeah.
Um, it's insane the mindset we have as creatives that want to be perfect in
Mm-hmm.
everything that we do, and
Mm-hmm.
we strive for that. Um, but also, too, the one of the things that I was able to finally get to a realization of is that perfection is not a human quality.
Mm.
So realistically, it's unattainable
Yeah.
because as humans, we can never be completely perfect.
Right.
And as much as we try to do that with our creative expression, it can only go so far. Like we can take it to a point where we think that, it's great. Somebody else looks at it and it's like, oh my God, that's insane. How did you
Yeah.
do that? And you're
Yeah.
looking at it and you're like, well, there's that wrong
Yeah.
right there. And I didn't finish off this area over here. That you're
Right.
just pulling it apart.
Right.
So yeah, that's an ongoing thing I think many creatives end up dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Once your brother goes on this uh, journey
Yeah.
to this camp
Mm-hmm.
and is able to come back, and was he in high school yet, or is he just in junior high around this time?
Trying to think of what house we were in. He was in high school. I was in
He'd gone up to
college.
college. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So let's let's stick with you getting towards the end of college, and then I'll
Yeah.
circle back to your brother. As your or high school rather,
Yeah.
ending high school, getting
Yeah.
thinking about college,
Mm-hmm.
are you developing in your mind uh, a way forward in terms of what you specifically want to do and what to study potentially as a career as a creative person? Or are you thinking, I just need to go to college and I'll figure
Yep.
it out?
So at this point, I've met Landon, my husband. We've been together ever since all 4 years. And I'm just like head over heels for like I'm just girl, googly eye, in love. Like, let's get married. type of thing. But my parents were like, we're not going to pay for a wedding until you go to college. And I remember having so many conversations with my parents because my mom was always a stay-at-home mom. I've never seen her do anything else but that. And I just thought that she had the life. I was like, she gets to stay at home. She gets to go play tennis. She gets to hang out with her friends. She comes home, cooks and like keeps the house and hangs out with us and takes us to all of their. I was like, that seems like the life. And so my
Yeah.
entire high school was essentially I'm going to get married, I'll have this degree, I'll get a 9 to 5 job. But the minute I have babies, I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom. Like that was my ambition was to be like, how quickly can I be a stay-at-home mom as soon as possible? So I went to school just to go to school and go through the motions. At that point, that's where I was, and I was planning my wedding and what my life would be like with Landon. It was never
Okay.
like what career and what ambitions in my career were going to be. So, the life that I have now is a complete 180 to what I
Really?
grew up with
Okay.
of what I thought I wanted to be and wanted to do. But again, I never had the example of you can own a business and stay at home. So yeah,
Right.
the minute I like became a entrepreneur and was like, oh, I can work from home and I can make my own schedule and I can go play pickleball and have lunch with friends, the whole like, oh, I don't need kids to have that mentality. So like right now we're on the path of like we're just not gonna have kids. Um, which again is completely 180 because I grew up my entire life being like, okay, I'm gonna have kids and I'm gonna be a stay-at-home mom. But I was like, well, I don't need to have kids in order to have that lifestyle. So
Right.
now I'm just like, okay, well, I'm gonna keep this lifestyle how it is. So
Got you. Okay. And so what college did you go off to then?
I started off at Texas State, again, smitten with Landon. Landon was going to go to UT. As I knew I wanted to have a different college experience. Like, we're like, okay, we've been together for 4 years. Let's
Yeah.
do 4 years separately, but together, because I know I'm going to be with you the rest of my life. But let's just have this moment. Why is Allie not quite sure why she thought that was cool, but she thought it was cool. It was actually much needed. I'm glad we did that. So
Okay.
went to Texas State. He was going to go to UT. He calls me the summer, like we're about to get into summer, and he's like, yeah, so I met some of my best friends and I can't leave them. So I'm gonna stay because he did the UTA program where it's like a sister program where you go there for a year and then you're automatically accepted at UT in
Uh,
Austin. And so he's like, I'm just gonna stay here. They're staying here. Um, Sorry that you went to Texas State, but I'm gonna stay here. And I was like, well, I'm gonna move too. So then I moved to UNT, which is in Denton, which was like 30 minutes away from where my family lived. So I moved back home and then went to UNT and finished my career at my college career at UNT.
and what did you end up getting a degree in from that?
I was at interior design major at Texas State, and then I switched to because of that story at the beginning. I was like, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
um, do all of these late nights and hours and hours and hours of interior design school for 4 years just to design closets. So I went to school for marketing.
Marketing. Okay. And did you see anything within that course study that really intrigued you, or was some of that maybe coming from your perspective of what your dad was doing and some things that he was involved in?
No, I really, really, really wish I could like go back in time and redo college all over again. I would have done it completely different. I would have taken more advantage of extracurricular classes like pottery or like taking more art classes. Um, but also wish that entrepreneurship was a thing. Like I feel like I probably would have done either like graphic design or taken an on like
Yeah.
gotten my degree in entrepreneurship. It literally was so my husband's family, they're all engineers. And so
Okay.
it definitely had a huge impact on my life because I was with them for so many, like if I wasn't at my house, I was at his house. And so his parents were very influential on me. And so his dad is constantly like talking to like, oh, 401k and what degree and like all that stuff. So like my husband got a business degree as well. And so they're like, well, you should probably get a business degree too, Allie. Like that's going to be like your most solid career path. And so I was like, okay, I went down the list. I'm like, okay, what's the most fun and interesting business
Right.
degree? And I just landed on marketing because I thought it
Marketing.
was going to be the most creative and fun out of that aspect. So I honestly just phoned it in through college. There was no ambition. There was no I had a few teachers' pets, but not very many. And I just went to school and went home and studied and just was like ready for it to be over type of thing. So
Okay. How
yeah.
about how about job opportunities? Did you have jobs in high school and then into college?
I was a nanny all through high school.
Okay.
Yeah. And I started off with like a primrose. So it was like a monastery school. So I started off there. And then one of the parents were like, oh, we love you so much. Can you just be our nanny full time? And so I did that all through high school, which is so weird because the kids that I nannied for are like in college and are about to graduate. And I'm like, I am not old enough for this. This is weird. They're like, you're about to graduate college. This is crazy. Um, and so I did that, but then through college, I had a really dear like not high school, elementary school, just young. They've known me since I was probably 4.
Okay.
They're kind of like my second family in a sense, but she was battling breast cancer. Nan was battling breast cancer. And so they needed help at the boutique that she owned. And so I helped them all through college on running that boutique after schools and things like that. So
Okay. Did some of that nanny experience kind of uh, take some of that parental yearning that you may have had at that point in time?
I
Did it kind
probably
of
should have. But man, I was a goddamn good nanny. Like they loved it and I loved it. It was so much fun.
yeah,
Like, it's not something like I hate kids, but
right.
I'm really good at it. Like I know for a fact I would be a really great mom, but I just think I like the autonomy that I have now. I'm not ready to give that up.
Yeah, it's definitely um, a give and take scenario,
Definitely.
especially if you're a creative and you're entrenched in your career and
Mhm. Mhm.
trying to even grow as that creative to get to the
Right,
point of being just the fine artist where you don't have to worry about the client kind of a thing.
right, right.
That that scenario, if you have kids, it there's always a pull
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
comes in play. So I get the mindset there. Totally get it. I never got married, don't have kids, so yeah, I understand it. And the reasoning not to.
Right. We can be like the great, cool aunt and uncle
Yeah,
and the aunt and uncle to our best friends' kids
yeah,
and looking forward to those times. But yeah, I think at the moment, yeah, kids are just not for us. But
yeah.
who never knows? 5 years a lot can change. So
Right. Absolutely. 2 weeks can change.
honestly, honestly, yeah.
um, so as you're graduating from college
Yes.
and you're thinking, all right, I have this vision that I'm just going to go ahead and get married and then
Yep,
I can stay at home and I've
yep.
got this marketing degree. What are you thinking you're going to do? And what is the thing that starts turning that ball around from its
Yeah.
180?
So I graduated. And started immediately applying for jobs. And it felt like the Hunger Games. Like everyone was, especially in marketing, like everyone was applying for the same jobs.
Yeah.
And like I would see so many of like the people that I went to school with like in the lobby and like, oh hey Billy, like good luck. Like it was just so crazy. And I think that I probably applied to hundreds and hundreds of jobs. I was getting to the point to where I was like, okay, forget marketing. I'm just going to be an executive, like an assistant job, and whatnot. I will never forget. It was the last interview that I did. I was like, okay, I'm not going to do an executive assistant job anymore because the lady, she is interviewing me and she's like, okay, so like where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I was like, well, honestly, like I really do see myself like I can be an assistant for a really long time. Like I would actually really thrive in that scenario.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she looked at me dead in the face and she said, you have way more potential than that. I am not giving you this job because you you need to have more ambition than just being an assistant. I'm like, okay. So I didn't apply for any more assistant jobs, but I could not get a job. You would think that an assistant, like front desk job, would be the easiest job to get, right? Like
Yeah.
I have a pretty face, I'm friendly, like all these things, could not get it. And so I was working at the boutique that I was working at through college. I started modeling, which I didn't
Okay.
make any money doing that, but I was like, oh, this could potentially be a passive income type of thing. It didn't, but it it did help me. I'll get to that. So it was one of those things where because I didn't have a corporate internship because I was working at the boutique the entire time, they wouldn't give me the experience because I didn't have the experience. But
Mm.
also looking back at it, I think it was just one of those like I was meant to be doing this. And this
Yeah.
was my path of life. And so hundreds and hundreds of interviews, I couldn't land a job. But while I was interviewing, we had gotten married and I had my first apartment. And so of course I wanted to like decorate it. We weren't poor per se, but I was like looking at Hobby Lobby and things like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
I can make that. I have all this time. So I'm going to
Right.
do that. And so I started making canvases and painting globes and doing watercolor and just like crafting at our kitchen table. And then as gifts, I much rather give a homemade gift than buying something. And so I would start giving my friends those things that I was making. They're like, oh my gosh, you're so good, Al. I can't believe you did this. And then they're like, they're starting to hire me to give gifts to their friends. And I'm just like, this is weird. Why are you paying me? Like, I'll just do that. Like, I would much rather just give it to you. And they're like, no, 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 we're going to pay you. And so I'm doing this on the course of months. And there was Christmas. I had like 75 orders for Christmas orders. I was like, and people are paying me. I was like, this is crazy that people are paying me for art. And I go to my husband and I was like, I think this could be a job. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. Like art's kind of a hobby, like, right? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I think this could be it. Because this was again 2014. Etsy was pretty big. People were starting, and I started my first Etsy shop and whatnot. But we just grew up in that lifestyle. Like he, especially like an engineering background, like art was a hobby. That's what you did on the side. And so I told him, I was like, give me 6 months. Like, I think I'm gonna like just slow the roll on interviews. I'm gonna just like dive deep into this and see where it goes. And so I was like, okay, I know I need to make my because I was probably like breaking even at that point. And I was like, okay, let me get in the wedding industry because I was modeling and a lot of the modeling shoots that I was getting gigs for, I was the pretend bride in these styled shoots.
Okay.
And so I was the pretend bride and the style shoots. It's like all of these vendors get together and make this like fake wedding type of thing. So there's a calligrapher and florist and event
Right.
planner and photographer and all that stuff. And so I started networking and making friends with all of these vendors. And I would be like, hey, like I can do that calligraphy too. Like if you ever need someone, I would take the event planners out to coffee and whatnot. They're like, yeah, sure. And so I got my first styled shoot as not the bride, but the calligrapher, and it just skyrocketed. And
Nice.
I grew my business like it was so fast because I knew that I felt like I kind of like hit the mark of like what was the right way to network, and it was to make friends with all the vendors. I never had to sell or do
Yeah.
cold emails, or like my Instagram was still super low. I was busy nonstop just because I was friends with all of the vendors and they would refer me, and vice versa. So it was
Yeah.
great. It was a great, but I also didn't, I hated the industry. More so like I hated the mother of the brides. They really did me in, unfortunately. Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can imagine.
Yeah. So I started doing that, and I was like, I think this is gonna be my job. I told my husband, he's like, all right. And there was a like that first couple year, he was just like, okay. And even like with not my family, because my family, of course, I could like do anything, and they're like, I went to the moon or something. They're always very supportive. But like his family, they would kind of be like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I'm an artist. And they're like, oh, bless your heart. And they kind of like would look at me and like,
They gave you that line.
yeah, yeah. They like looked at Landon like, oh, you're gonna have to support her the rest of your life. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that's what the first couple of years were like. But man, is it nice going to family events now because it is completely the opposite. Yeah,
Yeah, I can imagine.
yeah.
Especially in the South when you get that line.
Yes,
Bless your
yes.
heart.
Bless your
It's
heart. Yeah,
you know exactly what's behind it.
yeah,
It's not as lovely as it seems.
yeah. But I've definitely proved them all wrong. So fast forward, like we'll probably continue through the story, but now my husband, I was able to retire my husband from corporate world, and now
Amazing.
he works with me. So it's complete full circle of just where our story started. Yeah,
That's wild
yeah.
and amazing all in the same thing.
Oh, it's great. I think it's probably one of my biggest accomplishments. Like when people are like, oh, like, what's your biggest thing? It's that. Like, it's not the 20 books or the biggest mural. It was being able to grow my business enough to be able to support us and our lifestyle and
Yeah,
whatnot. So that's pretty cool.
for sure. For sure. So once you decide, okay, I'm kind of done with the wedding industry
Yeah.
and dealing with them, where are you starting to pivot at this point?
So I was doing calligraphy, doing weddings, and started doing calligraphy classes. But I wanted my own like my own studio to be able to do that because it's just so hard to find places to host those. And so I went on Craigslist and found the most this rinky dinky studio space. I showed my parents and they're like, this is not good. I was like, no, no, no. Just throw some white paint on the walls. It's gonna be amazing. And my landlord was like, yeah, you do whatever you want. This is your studio. I was like, great. So I painted all the walls white. And I asked, I was like, can I paint on the wall? And they're like, yeah, it's your studio. Like you can do whatever you want. Like just paint over it if you need like just like you're renting. I was like, okay, so I painted my first mural at my studio space and posted on Instagram. And within 2 weeks, not exaggerating, a realtor, um, he reached out to me. He was like, hey, you paint murals? And I'm like, yes, I paint murals. That first mural, I had no idea what I was doing. I'm pretty sure I painted it with a Sharpie, like half of it, because I was just like, I have no idea. I used a projector, but it was like one of those like old school like head
Yeah,
like cloth projectors. It's like what I thought a projector was.
yeah.
I like went to FedEx and got a what is it? The clear sheet. Oh my gosh, what
Uh,
is it?
the clear sheets that you put on the projector.
Yes.
Oh, I, I know exactly what you're
I know.
talking
For
about.
some reason,
I'm
I
drawing
want
a
to say
blank.
it's not Kleenex because that's a tissue, but that's all my brain, my dyslexic brain is like putting in front of my head. But anyways, um,
Uh, it's
oh,
not transparency. Is
I
it?
maybe it is like essentially we'll just go with that. But yeah, I went to FedEx, got one of those printed and used that for my first projection of a
Yeah,
mural. But yeah, he's like, "Oh, you paint murals?" I'm like, "Yeah, I definitely paint them." It one of my favorite things to do is definitely say yes and figure it out later. Like I
yeah.
will completely just act like I know exactly what I'm doing in the room and situation, and then just Google the shit out of it afterwards and be like, okay, now I know what I'm doing. But I painted my first mural with that. That was my first paid mural. Probably it was within that same year. And then again, it just skyrocketed. Like it just, what was crazy is I was able to paint a mural and make just a tad bit more than what I was making doing a wedding invitation suite. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, hold on. This seems way better. Like I only have to deal with one person. I can paint a mural for 1 to 2 days and then be done. Whereas like a wedding suite thing can be like months and months and months. I was like, I'm gonna transition to that. So I transitioned to just doing murals and quit the wedding industry once it became more profitable in my business. So it was
Okay.
great.
And at this point in time, is your brother, is he starting to do better? Um,
He
as
is
you're like
definitely
watching from
had,
afar?
yeah, he definitely had his moments and his a couple bit more skin knees in the game.
Okay.
But he definitely was progressing in the right direction.
And is he starting to delve into his creative
Yes,
stuff
I
as
am
well?
so proud of it. We are definitely like this year, a lot changed with my family, and we were able to kind of trauma bond over that essentially.
Yeah.
So we have been closer than we have ever been ever in my 34 years or 30 years I've been with him. And so he's been
Amazing.
able to find someone that was also creative as like a girlfriend, and he's pushing him to be more creative, and he's sending me stuff all the time with things that he's making, and it's just really fun to watch him be able to do that. So yeah, he is really great right now. Yeah,
Nice. Excellent.
yeah,
Yeah, I wanted to circle back just to see where
yeah,
that
he's
was
great.
for him.
Yeah, yeah,
Cool. I think it's so amazing as well when creatives are able to find partners and
hmm,
or husbands and wives that are creative along with them,
yeah.
because I think it just builds a stronger foundation
It really does.
creatively,
Yeah.
um, because you have somebody who's literally starting to think the way that you're thinking
Yes.
and understands what you're dealing with the business side of it.
Hmm.
I think it's such a blessing when creatives are able to find partners that are, whether they're just girlfriends or life partners or whatever, that are able to experience the same thing and have their own flair and creative
Yeah.
talents as well.
Yeah. I think it is because Landon's still very new into his own like personal art career, and it is so fun to watch. And I try to be on the sidelines and not get too into it because I want to make sure that it is his own. But the things that he like comes to me and like vents about, I'm like, I have these same exact thoughts this week. And he's like, no, 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 you're fine. But I'm like, no, I ain't like
Yeah,
like I know that I have a very long list of resumes and things of that I've accomplished, but I still have the exact same thoughts and guilt and second guessing as if I'm starting over. Like it just for some reason I just don't think it ever goes away. And if
yeah,
it does go away, please tell me what the secret sauce is because I want that. I will pay good money for that. But yeah, so it's really fun to be able to connect with that. But it definitely, okay, so like 14, we've been together since we're 14, we're 34. Like it's a lot of years and a lot of seasons and a lot of phases that we had to go through because it never, because he worked um, corporate and he worked at Amazon while I was doing the art business majority of the time. And so that was a really hard pain point of a season in our marriage when he was doing corporate world and working 12 hours a day sometimes and coming home. And I'm just like sitting here working and doing arts and crafts, it probably thought to him. Um,
Yeah,
and so that was really a really yeah, we had to go through a lot of therapy to get through that moment in our relationship, but we were able to
okay,
get through it on the other side. And then like yeah, I was able to retire him from corporate world, and he just like a completely different person, like night and day. It's just so crazy to see him just become who he really is and his
yeah,
true potential. And yeah, just so not having stress in your life is, and that corporate stress really
for
takes
sure.
a toll on people. And it just really breaks my heart thinking that majority of America, well, really over the world, but essentially majority of Americans are just stuck in that hamster wheel of life. And it's just so, so sad to watch.
Yeah, for sure. That's they're stuck in that hamster wheel that every 2 weeks or every week they're getting a check that they know is going to be there,
Right.
um, and it's fantastic to be able to have that kind of security.
Mm-hmm.
But also too, if it's something that you just despise having to wake up for every morning, it's
Yeah, and maybe
difficult.
they don't fully despise it, but I don't think deep down that they know like how soul crushing it can be. Like you wake
Yes,
up and it's the same day every single day. You have 2 days off, and then you have to do it all over again. And then you have like maybe 2 weeks of vacation of the year. Like, whew, I've never experienced corporate life. Like it's probably a fun fact I could say. Like never worked a 9 to 5 job. I've always done this. So very I just can't picture it in my head of like what that life would look like. But yeah, it's just so crazy to like even think that majority of people have that lifestyle.
for sure. Another thing that I think is important too and fascinating is that you've literally been together for 20 years.
Yeah.
And early on, when you're going through these difficulties, you have the wherewithal between the two of you to seek out some counseling, to get some help, to get some perspective of maybe something that you guys aren't able to see fully and get a different point of view for that, which I think is it's amazing that you're able to recognize that and step into that. Um,
But is that because I've always seek that out from now I'm like thinking about it, I'm like, well, I've always seek that out in my teachers. And so like the minute like something is like, hold on, this is hard and difficult, like let me go seek some type of alternative way of like, because I know like I can't do it by myself. It's
yeah,
possible. Even just running a business, I have other people helping. If it's not my taxes or bookkeeping
yeah,
or someone to help film content and things like that, like it's just one, it's boring, and
for
two, it's just so I get way more out of things when I'm able to have a sounding board of someone else.
Well, I think that's the old soul in you, right?
I love it. I'll take that.
Because, yeah, it's the old soul that's always searching for more information.
Yes. Oh, constantly. I will just, yeah, that fills my cup is
Yes.
to like talk and like, yeah, I could probably talk about myself all day long, but I just like the communication. I have fired so many therapists because if they're constantly just be like, well, what does that make you feel? I'm like, nope, absolutely not. Like, I need to have a conversation. I need to know your thoughts and how you felt, how you like, yeah, it not just me, it's also you and learning. I think learning is definitely one of those like things that fills my cup for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. The I want to highlight something right here for the audience,
Yeah.
and it is the fact that you said you fired quite a few therapists because you weren't getting what you needed from them.
Yep.
And I'm always trying to let people know, especially from my perspective of dealing with mental health struggles my entire life and dealing with the things that I have and have been in therapy for at least half of my life, um, is that you have to be your own advocate
Yes.
in everything that you're doing, especially from that perspective. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you're not, you're just going to get sucked into something that may keep you stunted
Yep.
and or may exacerbate everything that you're trying to deal with
Mm-hmm.
because you're not getting what you need. You're
Right.
just accepting what's being presented to you.
Right.
Um, and I think that's a key thing to be able to highlight that for creatives in the creative community is that if you are dealing with something where you need to reach out and have some advice or perspective from somebody, whether it's a psychiatrist or psychologist or a professional therapist or anything like that, or even if it's just a mentor,
Mm-hmm.
someone who's older that you look up to that has some years ahead of you, always be your own advocate to make sure you're getting what you need versus what's being put in front of you.
For sure. There and again, being a people pleaser, confrontation is hard for me. And so when you're like firing a therapist like that, the first time I broke, I had hives. I was just like, I can't do this. I can't like I'm gonna hurt their feelings. And I'm definitely one of those people that I will avoid confrontation. So I just kind of like slowly walk away and like avoid, avoid, avoid.
Yeah,
And so a lot of times when I say fire, it was just me ghosting them essentially. But it
sure.
worked and they probably have it all the time. But have been a couple of ones where I just have gotten so frustrated with them. I was like, this is not working. Like I and
Yeah,
they would be like, honestly, like, yeah, I think it's not working for us too. And so there's been a couple of times, but also like being an advocate for myself, like I cannot do an hour session. Like it is it's almost more draining for me to do an hour session. And so like I will not see my therapist unless I can do a 2 hour session with him. And I have to thank him all the time because most therapists don't do that. It's very draining on them to talk for 2 hours.
yeah,
But it was the pivotal moment in my therapy sessions and uh, how I was able to like really make a dent and change and me and Layden's relationship as well as me personally was being able to switch to those 2 hour sessions. Um, but again, I advocated, I was like, I need more time. I can't just
yeah,
do this for an hour. And so, yeah, I love how you worded that of just like being an advocate for yourself.
yeah. And to your point as well, from that perspective of the patient scenario of needing more time and
Mm-hmm.
being willing to wait a little bit longer
Yeah, right.
so that you're able to get it. Um, that's huge.
Right.
And the reason I say that too is the same reason why I'm doing the podcast the way that I do it, right? Since the beginning, everybody said, no, it's too long. You got to cut it down 30 minutes, hour. And I'm like, you cannot have a conversation with anybody
Not a deep one,
in
no.
that short amount of time. And
Yeah,
I'm just not interested in it. It's
right, right.
I
It's
can't
just
do it.
surface level small talk, and man, is that draining. Yeah.
For sure. Like I want to know things. I want to see how things play out for people. I
Mm-hmm.
want to
Mm-hmm.
draw, strings across their stories, different
Yeah,
things like that.
yeah,
And I have to have, two at least 2 hours,
yeah.
at plus. That's I asked for 2 to 2.5. Um, I've had some that have gone on 3 hours, 4 hours,
I love that.
which is great. Yeah, but I always ask for that up front. I'm like, and some, they're like, oh no, I can't talk that long. I'm like, all right, no problem. I
Yeah.
get it.
No,
Totally.
I'm looking forward to it. It did kind of hit me like right when we were starting. I'm like, oh my gosh, 3 hours. Like, I really hope that I have enough to say, but it's been great.
Oh yeah, we're just
We're just starting.
into your beginning of your art career. We haven't got to the meat of it yet.
I know, I know.
So as you're seeing these opportunities with these murals pop up, and you're just saying yes
Yeah,
because you feel like you're gonna figure it out anyways.
exactly.
What is the one opportunity at that point where it was like, oh wow, this is huge. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to figure it out because this is just too huge to not step into it.
Honestly, my second mural.
Okay, perfect.
A very big wall. Again, it was so many colors. I think I probably had like 34 different colors. I had to buy a new projector because I was like, there's no way my overhead projector was working. It was hot. I needed it to be done at a certain timeline because it was for an event. And I was just like, man, I got sun poisoning because I was putting on like expired sunscreen. Like it was just so
Oh,
much. But I loved it. I thrive on the problem solving. And so
nice.
I absolutely loved it. I was just like hooked. And it was for a pretty big brand in Dallas, and there were a ton of influencers that came and took photos in front of it and whatnot. And it just, my career just skyrocketed. I think another thing that really helped was I published my first book in 2017, and that really put me on the map. And so my kind of book and mural career took off at the same time and kind of at the same altitude as well. Like the better my books did, the better my mural gigs were doing. So
Okay.
that's so I would say probably my second mural, but then also like I know it's not a mural, but publishing my book really was challenging. I remember that when it published that day, I think it was in September 2017. I was painting a mural that day and I pubbed and I looked down and all these people are like, oh my gosh, I love this book. And I'm starting to see them because it was a how to draw book. And I'm starting to see the people drawing out of it. And I was like, I just ruined my career. Like, so I'm 14, 15, 16, so I'm 3 years in my career. Um, and I was like, I just ruined it. I'm like, why did I just publish a how to draw book to teach people how to draw just like me? I was like, what did I do? Like, why would I do that? And so I panicked for a good week. And then I realized, like, you know what? Like, no, like, this is going to push me. Like, I just need to get better. Because then all these people are going to draw just like me. So then now I need to pivot. That's when I leaned heavily into my murals. I'm like, okay, they can do the paper stuff. I'll do the wall stuff. I'll paint
Right.
the walls. And so I dived really deep into murals and really pushed myself because I knew that I needed to kind of get away from, I was still doing a little bit of calligraphy and custom paper orders and canvases. And I was like, I'm not going to do those anymore because I'm going to stick to, like, if I'm going to do something on paper, it's going to be my books.
Yeah.
Let me lean into murals because at the time, really no one was painting murals.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, I need to be different enough because I'm about to teach everyone else this,
Yeah.
but they're learning it on paper. I'm going to go do it on a large scale wall. And so I think
Yeah.
that was a big pivotal moment in my thought process of how to continue to keep growing without ruining myself as an artist. Yeah.
Yeah. I can imagine the initial shock of doing that and
Yeah,
realizing, oh,
because
I
they
just
were
screwed up.
good.
Yeah.
Yes, those other artists that have my book, they were good. I was like, oh, dang it, they're gonna be so good. It's like one of those like what's the wax on, wax off person where he's the
Mr. Miyagi,
yeah, so it was gonna be
Karate Kid.
that. I mean, then he outdoes the teacher and goes
Yeah.
on to be like great and yeah, yeah, crazy. So, but it does like once I did start seeing like the comments and the DMs and the letters of people like being like, "Hey, you like gave me the confidence to really start my own business or start
Nice.
drawing or like I was able to just like get in the flow state with your book." Like that's when I was like, "Okay,
Yeah.
now I found my purpose." Like now I was like able to pivot and be like, okay, let me push myself, let me do the murals. But then that's when I was like, okay, this is my purpose, because the amount of like joy and just like full body sensation, like a lot of times when people are like, okay, what is your purpose? Majority of the time you ask yourself, okay, like what am I doing that I'm the happiest at? And
Yeah.
that's that. When I can teach someone else and learn something to then teach, or I feel fully believe that like you don't learn something until you're able to teach it to someone else. So
Right.
just that like connection and conversation and joy that you see and the confidence that you're able to build in other people, I was like, yeah, this is what I was meant to do. So 20 books
No.
later, I'm still doing it. But yeah, it's really great to be able to find that purpose. And I probably don't lean into it more, or I need to lean into it more. I don't lean into it enough, because it sometimes the rat race of business,
Oh yeah,
paying bills and all that stuff. But
for sure.
it's always there. Yeah.
The other side of that flash that you have in your mind of, oh crap, I've just ruined my career.
Yeah.
There's a perception scenario that takes place when somebody's working on paper
Yeah.
versus a large wall.
Yeah.
That is the differentiator between the two.
Mm-hmm.
Doing it on a piece of paper is a completely different scale
Yeah.
scenario of being able to visualize it on a wall and then work with that wall in
Mhm.
terms of the amount of space you need to put certain lines and draw them into each area, right?
Right.
That's something that's definitely sets a muralist apart from a traditional artist, having that extra depth perception to be able to see the full thing, but also to zoom in and understand I'm just got to work in this small area to create this section where it would
Right.
be probably a huge portion of the paper.
Right. Right. Exactly. It came very natural to me, and so that's why it's a little hard. Like you described that, I'm just like, nah, it's easy. But there are probably some people that it would be intimidating. But it's kind of one of those like, how to eat an elephant, like one bite at a time. And so
Yeah,
just kind of, I think I'm pretty good at breaking really complex. And that's why I love to draw those to draw books, is I can take this complex image and break it down into a simple form and step by step. And so I feel like I'm pretty good at that in all
yeah,
aspects of life. Yeah.
for sure. No, that's a huge asset to be able to do that, especially across life,
Yeah.
um, for sure.
Got me.
When you, yeah, exactly. When you started to create this book and decided you were going to go ahead and publish it, did you have in your head you were just going to self-publish, or were you looking at a publishing house to work with?
No, so my publisher reached out to me via email, and I thought it was a scam at first.
Okay,
And so my dad published his books as well. And so he had published books at the time. And so I sent it to him, and I was like, this is interesting, but also is this a scam? And he's like, get on the phone with them. Like, it doesn't hurt to ask, like,
right.
just try. And so I thought it was one of those, like, you just want a free vacation, to like pay all this money to get a book and whatnot. And we had a first call, and they're like, no, we really like you, and we'll pay you. I think it was like maybe $300 at the time.
Okay,
Maybe it's either that, or it was low. It was very low. My first one, it was maybe 500. They're like, no,
okay,
we're gonna pay you $500, and you'll get royalties and all that stuff, and we'll send you free books and whatnot. I was like, man, this just seems, one, it seems too good to be true, because at the time I was still doing calligraphy. I hadn't painted my first mural yet. So it was all just like paper and stuff like that. And even like looking back at my Instagram, I was like, what did they see? Because there were so many other artists at the time that I was looking up to that was doing these beautiful florals, and they wanted me to, like, they came up, they're like, We want you to do how to draw a floral book. We want it to be modern. Like, are you interested? And I was like, why me? So I've had breakfast with my dad since I was 13 every Saturday. And I
Okay.
vividly remember the breakfast date where I was sitting down and I was like, I don't know. I don't understand why me. Like, I didn't have a lot of followers. I was just doing wedding invitations. I barely drew florals. Like, they were there. And so I asked my publisher, I was like, honestly, like, I just need to know. And they're like, you just have this sense of wanting to give and teach and um,
Yeah.
just this, like, they use a certain word, but just that feeling of like giving back, and they're like we were just so drawn to it, which like gives me goosebumps because it was nothing that I was like in my captions like, oh, I want to teach you this,
Right.
but it was just the person, like, they saw that on
Yep.
a screen that I was giving. Like, it's just like crazy that people can see that through me so easily. So yeah, I published my first book in 2017, and I guess I'm just really great to work with because they keep asking me every year to be like, hey, I have a very, very fortunate, I'm very, very grateful for the opportunity and the relationship that I have with my publisher. It is not a typical relationship that I have,
Okay.
that any author has with any publisher. Typically, nowadays, you have to either have a book agent or you have to pitch your publisher. Um, and whatnot. And it's such a almost like second family type of relationship that I could be like, hey, I kind of want to do this. And most of the times they're like, hey, we see this miss in the market, like let's do this. And I'm like, I'm also a yes person. So
Right.
like, you could be like, hey, you want to do a 3 hour podcast? I'm like, yes, I do. Have no idea what we're going to talk about, but let's do it. Like, if you're going to ask me, well, 99% of the chance say yes, I'm going to do that. So yeah, it's a really great opportunity because again, a lot of authors, they'll have to like do a pitch and send out a deck or talk to their agent. And so that's why I've been able to publish so many books um, with them, is because I'm just able to do it so easily. And it's just easy to work with.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. There's a thing that happens, yeah, and I think this can be an old soul thing as well.
Mhm.
Is that you recognize something about somebody
Yeah.
that is either familiar or you're just drawn to them in a way.
Yes.
One of the things that I see with you is you have authenticity in what you do. You have an integrity in you that you may not even realize that comes out with everything that you put online. Um, and you have a huge heart.
Thank you. Which is like
It,
so crazy because it's not like I'm like, okay, I sit on this computer or my phone and be like, okay, what can I post to make sure that shows?
yeah,
So that's just like insane that people can sense that in
yeah,
someone. Um, yeah, I think some of the biggest, so if you asked me earlier of like what's been, I don't know exactly how you question it, but it's like essentially like what's been like the biggest projects or things of whatnot. And my that second mural was, again, I had really only painted one mural paid at the time, and they're like, oh, we want you to do this massive mural that I've never done, which is
yeah.
crazy. But last year I was asked to do a mural that was my first six-figure mural, um,
Okay.
which is insane to just even think about that someone's going to pay that amount of money. But
I'm
it
saying holy shit on the other side of this microphone here.
was like insane. But it was the largest mural, obviously, that I've ever done. It took me and Landon 30 days straight, no breaks to do. But it was the most colorful mural that I have ever done. I don't have a single lick of color in my portfolio up until this. And I did multiple interviews with the client, in person, over the phone. I had to pitch them ideas, and they they picked me out of who, like, they probably interviewed so many other artists, and for some reason they picked me. And I'm just like still flabbergasted at that, of that I was able to do that, and they trusted me even though I didn't have, again, biggest mural. I've never painted anything this large, never painted anything of, it was birds. Like, I've never painted a bird ever. It was like, all right, let's do birds. Like, we got it. It was crazy. But so that happened. And then it happened again this year where, well, I guess technically last year, where I get pulled into a city meeting, and they're like, hey, like, we know you do murals, but we want you to do a sculpture.
Yeah,
And I'm like, just never, I don't have any experience in sculptures, but what was very serendipitous of that is that I had like the lowest point of my career of not being busy at all, and just something was tugging on me of like, hey, like, look into public art, like, just see
right.
what it entails, like, what do you need to learn? I signed up for tutoring classes of how to do 3D Blender art, all these things. And without not knowing anything, I was just like, let me just learn this, because again, I love learning. Um,
Yeah.
it, Whenever I get super, super low in my thoughts, I'm like, wait, let me learn something. And so that's what I was doing. And the city comes out and like, hey, we want you to do a sculpture. That was the one time that I was like, yeah, totally. And then I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna figure it out. That was the one time I actually came up and I was like, I know nothing about this, but I need to tell you that I actually know something about this, because for the past 3 weeks, that's all I've been learning was sculpture.
Oh wow.
For no purpose. I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna do a sculpture in my backyard. And again, it was like a God wink is what I like to call
Yeah,
it.
I do too. I
Yeah,
do too.
yeah. So it was just definitely one of those like God wink moments where you're like have no idea what I'm doing this for, and that was what it is. So I don't know what we were talking about earlier, but
What we're talking about
oh,
authenticity.
those people like was able to like see that I have a
Yeah,
heart. Like, you were complimenting me very, very well. But yeah, those people see that in me, and it's just like so crazy that all these people can take a chance on someone. Not a lot of people, like, I just don't think you meet enough people in your life that will be like, yeah, I'm going to take a chance on you because I trust you
yeah,
100%.
yep,
Even though you've never done this before, we know you got it. I'm just
yeah.
like, man, that's crazy. It's crazy.
Again, yeah, it plays into your character, that authenticity, the integrity, the big heart. I mean, the whole conversation has been a testament to your big heart because you've been saying you're a people pleaser since you were a kid, right? So you're always wanting to help people, to make
Mhm.
them feel good, to look
Yeah,
out for them, that kind of
yeah.
stuff. Um, and people are able to see that. I don't know if you're familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk at all.
No, I'm not.
Okay, he's a marketing guru
Okay.
online. He's stepped into all kinds of creative stuff. But one of the things that he is always throwing out to content creators or anybody that's in business or trying to do business is just be authentic. Like,
Hmm.
don't worry about the bells and whistles of things starting out.
Right,
Just start doing it.
right.
And I think that's huge. That is something that shows through with your work is the fact that you're so authentic in what you're doing.
Thank you.
It just comes across like that. And then, once you start looking at a broader scope of what you've done creatively, then it starts making even more sense as to where you're at and how you got there, kind of a thing.
Hmm.
Um, and again, playing on that old soul thing, it's just you recognize certain aspects of individuals that you're like, I need to just connect or see if I can connect.
Yes. Yeah.
and see what happens from there.
Yeah.
With doing that sculpture, and I was following a little bit of that journey on Insta with you, and the one of the things that I think was a highlight moment for other creatives is the fact that you went looking for other people to help you accomplish it.
Yeah. You cannot do life alone. Like it, yeah, it's just a second nature thing for me. Like I knew that, like, yeah, I could probably sit here and do some YouTube videos, but I don't like learning that way. Like I much rather go in person or do a tutor or something. I just can learn so much easier and deeper and whatnot than just doing YouTube stuff. So
Yeah,
yeah, it
that
was instant. I was like, okay, I want to do this. I did a couple, like I feel like I definitely have like a Google University degree because I'm constantly on it. I love Googling things. But yeah, I was like, okay, let me figure things out. Let me learn some lingo. And then yeah, I was immediately like, okay, who can I go talk to? Who can I mentor? Who can teach me? Things like that. Yeah.
and also too, I think it's a thing within our brains because I'm
Mm-hmm.
the same way. Is I need to see something. I need to see how it's being
Yes.
done for
Yes.
me to work with it, and I think it's part of that dyslexia component of the brain
Oh, interesting. I haven't didn't think about that. Yeah.
where it just doesn't register with the visual words, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to see the motion, the process, the physicality of it
Yeah.
for it to make
But I
sense.
also really love that human connection too.
Oh, for sure, yeah,
Yeah. Like I know like a YouTube video and I can like watch them. Man, there's just something different about being able to have a conversation and collaborate and
yeah,
whatnot that just hits differently.
absolutely, absolutely. With doing that and seeing the possibility of that,
Hmm.
one of the other things that I saw that you have on your website is you had some fabric
Yeah.
with some of your patterns on it and
Mhm.
some of your florals. Have you potentially thought of going further in the fabric direction and or into fashion? And then with the sculpture component, have you thought of potentially going further and or into jewelry?
Interesting. Um, I so badly want to be the cool girl that like thrifts and like can make a curated outfit.
Okay.
Like I look up to those girls and love love their creativity so much, but I for some reason just don't have it.
Okay.
I wear black every single day. There you can see like I own maybe two white shirts, but they have like black designs on them.
Yeah.
Um, I did that at a very young age. It was when I was in starting my career, wedding industry. I was talking to someone and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I love your like your black outfit. Like you look so chic." And they're like, yeah, this is just my uniform. Like it's just like all I wear because it's one less thing I have to think about. And oh, I really, really wish I remember who that was. Because it was one of those like someone came up to the table and we were all talking and it was someone else's friend. But man, did he change my life at that moment because I was like, that I need that. And so I wear black because it's just I think I have decision paralysis pretty hard.
Okay.
And so it's one less thing I have to think about. And it's kind of like that CEO effect. You hear a lot about Steve Jobs used to wear the same uniform, and a lot of CEOs
Yeah.
have this kind of uniform mentality because it's again just one less thing that they have to think about. And
Right.
so yeah, I fashion, I love it. I love the people that can put on a super cool outfit. And I would rock a super cool outfit, but I just don't have the brain capacity to do it. But the fabric line was is a really fun story. I also am one of those people that love kind of instant gratification, or if I set a goal, I'm gonna make that. Like there's very few goals I have set for myself that I haven't achieved. Um,
Okay.
and it's kind of like one of those like things that's like an itch in the back of my mind until I can like achieve it. And so I'm just gonna like do it. So I had the goal and be like, man, it would be so cool to have a home collection line. And so you're instantly think like a home collection, Joanna Gaines at Target,
Yeah.
or let me try to get with an art license agent to then go through that. Like I was like, okay, I guess I need to go through that avenue in order to get a home collection line. And but I was like, okay, this is gonna take way too much time. So I'm just gonna do it myself. So I figured out how to create a home collection line for myself. And it was a mixture of like making my own things, drop ship. That's when I was able to learn about drop shipping,
Yeah.
things like that. And so I went all in and I hired a photographer. We created this like digital catalog. Like I tried to make it as cool as possible. And so many people were like, oh my gosh, who's your agent or who are you working with? Like they thought that I was working with someone else. And I'm like, no, it's just me. And so I launched that. It was probably like my most successful art launch career to date because I just hyped it up so much and I made it look so cool. But Mata, the fabric company that I work with now, they saw that. They thought I had was working with someone. They're like, hold on, we love your designs. Like, would you create fabric for us? And I was like, sure, all right. So I've been working with them ever since. I've done a collection with them every year, and it's really great to have that connection. I'm actually next weekend going to my first quilters market with them and gonna hang out with the quilting community, which quilting community is so strong. Like, I love it. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I definitely have a sewing machine and I definitely have many thoughts of like making quilts or clothes or things like that. I just don't have, I feel like I don't have the brain capacity to think about it yet. So it's kind of one of those like back burner when I retire um,
Right.
things that I would do. And then as far as jewelry goes, I really don't wear any jewelry either. I'm such a plain Jane type of gal.
Okay.
I wear a ton of rings. Like typically when I'm out, I'll have a ring on every finger. But I own a bunch of jewelry, but I put it on and then I take it off for some reason. I don't know why.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Two things that I'm realizing uh,
Yeah.
based on the fact that you love black so much,
Yes.
right? And also to the fact that when you got your first studio, you painted everything white
Yeah.
and you had to ask permission to go ahead and do it further and
Yeah.
create some stuff on the wall. But I think it plays into that element throughout your storyline of getting to a place of starting to look at things in grays. You
Mm.
had put that instant perspective put in front of you very young of
Yes.
black or white.
Yes.
And at this point in your life, you're starting to blend those together,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
To get to those grays. So I think eventually you may get to a place where you're starting to see some color start to flourish in what you're doing.
Well, I mean, I'm very thankful for my community of Instagram followers because I never once are like, oh my gosh, where is all? Because before last year, I painted every single mural and it was always black and white. There were like trickles of some where I would have like pops of color.
Yeah.
Now I think I did one black and white mural this year, and every other mural has just been full color, like all of them. And so it's a big change for me. Um, but yeah, it's been refreshing and nice to be able to like pivot so easily in that direction. Um, and my community and followers were just like, what are you doing? This is so much color. Who are you? They're so supportive and they love it and never once have said anything. Because I was like sweating. I was like, oh my gosh. Because I built my whole brand for years, 10 years on black and white. And still when
Yeah,
people see a black and white floral, like majority of the time they're gonna think of me. And I love that. And I still love all of that too. And so
yeah,
been nice, but it's also been scary because I'm like, okay, well, are they still going to be able to see me if I paint color? And so that's been really hard to navigate and try to make sure that I, again, art not ruining my art career again, all over again of like, what am I doing? But like personally, everyone's like, wow, you're really on brand. I'm like, well, the brand is me. So yes and no. Like, um, what I love is still like you can see behind me. I just love black and white and neutrals and
yeah,
textures. So I think my whole life will still be that way. I do have blue hair, and that's the most colorful thing in my entire life or house. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if I ever start adding color into my home. That will be when things really start to like pick up and be like, okay, you're changing quite a bit, but we'll see.
yeah. Why? What was the decision to choose blue for the hair color?
It kind of happened on accident. So I was silver for a really long time, and then I overdid it one time with purple shampoo, and so the silver kind of turned purpley.
Yeah,
And then I was like, okay, this kind of works. And then I found this new hair dye that started off silver, but then faded into purple. It was like the weirdest hair in science. It's weird. It's weird. But so that happened. So then, which is really funny because purple is my least favorite color. And so people thought that that was my favorite color because my hair was purple. I was like, no, I actually don't like it, but I'll live with it. And so it was to the point to where I was like, oh my gosh, I hate this. And I put in a new a hair mask to get back to a color, and then it turned blue. And then I have never in my life gotten so many compliments on my hair when it was blue. And I was like, maybe this is a thing. I'm very, very much like a dot's a dot, two dots is a line, three dots is a trend. And so
yeah,
it comes in threes. I'm like, okay, this is meant for me. And so I think I was like, all right, I'm just gonna stick with the blue for a while. So
nice.
yeah, I forget all the time that my hair is a different color. All the time until this like little girl comes up to me, I like your hair. I'm like, oh, thanks, thanks. Oh. Yeah.
One of the interesting things that I'm seeing as well, even the fact that you're into numbers and sequences,
Yes.
um, is going back to the old soul scenario and all of the different things that you've done over the course of your career so far. And also, too, looking at it from a perspective of you didn't start out thinking that you were going to be in art full on, right?
Gosh, no, yeah.
So, what I'm seeing with you visually right now is an element of I like to relate things to animals and animal totems and different things like that.
Okay, I love this.
And so, what I'm seeing for you is the crow or the raven. They're in the same.
Ooh,
They're in the same family, right?
okay.
But the crow and the raven, they have the ability to walk between two worlds.
Oh, I love this. Keep unpacking. I love this. Don't think I've ever had this a conversation like this, so keep going.
Okay, so the crow and the raven, they can walk between the two worlds. They work
Uh-huh.
the physical realm that we're in,
Yeah,
but they also walk in the non-physical realm. So
yeah.
they have the capacity to go back and forth between
Mhm.
the two. And if you've ever looked at a crow or a raven, whenever they've been able to hit the sunlight just right, they have shimmers of blue
Yeah.
in the black feathers.
I have goosebumps. Yes.
Perfect.
Crazy. Yeah.
That message
Never
was
thought of
huge.
it. Yeah, I've never thought of it this way. I'm about to go look at all the meanings behind a color ribbon.
So yeah, you're already embodying it
Yeah,
with the
without thinking.
black
Yeah.
and the blue.
Yeah.
Um, with another question I had that come up as you were talking is, have you ever looked at Patreon as another facet of your career?
I have, and I have a really good friend that's what she like makes a lot of her income on. And I love to help and I love to mentor and things like that. And probably a huge reason why I don't lean so much into it is because I hate to be salesy.
Got
Um,
it.
and so Patreon seems like a constant, like, okay, go to my Patreon or, oh, go to do this or go do that. And so it's always in the back of my mind of like, oh, maybe I should do this. But also, it's another one of those things where because I love that one-on-one personal connection. Like, am I going to fully be fulfilled with Patreon? Because it's
Right.
essentially just me talking to masses and not really anyone at that point.
Yeah.
So it would have to be one of those, like, I could probably do whereas like 30 of us on a call and whatnot.
Yeah.
And that is what Patreon looks like. I don't think I could be fulfilled of like doing weekly like things or let me
Yeah.
check this out and let me know how you like it's just yeah, I think about it and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And then it drops off for a reason. And I
Yeah.
think it's because of that reason of like I don't like talking to the masses. I like talking to
Individuals.
person. Yeah, that's why I get so burnt out on social media a lot of times because I get into this like, so like can be so yes, it's so draining. It's so like not real.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's just trying to like trick myself into it being like, okay, no, it's this is real. Like you can post and because I know people love to connect and it always makes my day when it's like the same. I have like the same 5 people that always comment and always DM me. So I'm just like I know that like I'm talking to those people essentially when I
Yeah.
post. Um, yeah.
Totally get it. It's the capacity component that
Mhm.
comes into play.
Yeah, for sure.
And two, that again, I'm seeing that play out across your lifespan of where
Mhm.
some of that dyslexia
Yeah.
has you only available for a certain capacity of
Yes.
connection, right?
Yes. Yes.
Totally get it. Totally get it. With what you're stepping into uh, now, with a few more of these books coming out, which just that alone, oh my gosh, that's been a huge accomplishment for you. What can the viewers look forward to with these couple that are coming out for the maybe the end of this year or into next year?
Yeah, I'm coming out with one at the end of this year that I am incredibly excited about. And I typically like throw a huge party for my new
Cool.
books. And I haven't thought about it this year and I'm like, oh no, I think it's too late. So I might have to like do a delayed party for it because it's like one of those things like I love to celebrate even just like the smallest things or try to remind myself to because like when a book publishes and it's just another day and you don't have anything to look forward to like a party then you like wake up and you're like post about it and you're like all right it's done like new book um,
Yeah.
but I'm creating a sticker doll storybook which is
Oh, cool.
oh, completely different because I typically will do a coloring book or how to draw a book. So this is completely different realm. And it's really crazy that I'm like so heavily into the kid genre, even though I don't have kids, but
Right. Right.
also
Right.
really cool, again, just to be that example for the next generation of like the example
Yes.
that I never got to be, or I never got to have. And so yeah, it's just these 5 girls, which is really fun because a lot of the girls, so obviously there's doll that has blue hair and is named Alli. So
Of course.
inspired. But it's essentially like five friends, and it's imagination. They have this tree house called Imagination Station, and they get to imagine and dream and do all these things. And so I'm excited about it because it gets to be a series, and they get to do so many different things. Like I'm already doing dance, and then we're gonna do I don't know if I'm actually allowed to say it, but a bunch of other little things
Yeah.
that are coming, and they get to have stories and dream and things like that. I'm just so excited to be able to
Yeah.
like pour that side of myself into it. But yeah, it's also fun because my friends that have kids that are girls, like I use them as inspiration. So it's just
Yeah.
really fun to, I cannot wait to see their faces when I get to give them those books and they get to see themselves and
For
something.
sure.
So yeah, can't wait.
You get to be that creative nanny.
Yes, right, right. Yeah, I'm the cool aunt. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's very cool.
right.
That's very cool. And I for sure could see it being and developed into a series. Think it's a huge opportunity,
Yeah,
huge
yeah. No, we're already
open
like,
handed.
yeah, we have like 20 books just in
Oh,
this little
jeez.
things, just like planned out. So who knows if it will like actually fully happen, but like the first five are for sure set in stone. So it's just like, it's really cool to be able to like see where these girls are going to go and explore and the lessons that I get to teach them through creativity. But and then it's also be able to be like the cool girl, like how I've always said of like I love all the outfits and things like that and whatnot. And that's essentially what this book is that these girls get to dress the little dolls. Um,
Yeah.
and so it's really fun. Like I can't wait to see what all these cool little girls are gonna do creativity wise of dressing all the dolls in the story. So yeah, I'm excited.
Well, even creating those elements, right, that they get
Yeah,
to play with,
yeah,
that's akin to being that fashion designer,
right.
right?
I
In your
don't
own.
have it deep down in me if I didn't have so much other
Yeah.
stuff going on.
But I think what you're doing is you're finding your lane, right? You're finding exactly what you said early on. Those things that are fulfilling your heart and your soul.
Yeah,
And shifting into that is the pivot where it's going to give you the most joy.
right, right.
And you being able to find that in stride at
Mhm,
34, from
mhm.
my perspective, is amazing
Thank you.
because you have so much opportunity hereafter going forward. It's just going to be, it's going to expand exponentially the way I'm seeing it right now. Uh,
It definitely scares me because I feel like every year, like especially towards this time of year, I'm like looking back at all the things that I did. I'm like, this was a great year. Like, I don't know, Allie, I don't know how you're going to top this one. And I always seem to top it. Always, always. And I don't have any like, okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and that's how I'm going to top it. It just happens. And so it's just being able to have the strength and the courage to just like take it and be like, it's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, then maybe this is the season of rest. Who knows? But yeah, it's always scary to be like, okay, because you're right. I am only 34, but like all the accomplishments that I have is like it. I don't know very many people that have the same
no,
resume and list that I do, and so just like where do I go from here is a little scary, but who knows?
go research Crow and Raven.
I am. You seriously, don't doubt me because that's exactly what I'm doing the minute I get off this phone call. Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be able to see some things that hopefully will help you release some of that fear
Okay.
going forward. And maybe you will see some things as well where you can start to take on some of the characteristics
Do you
of
want to know
that.
what's also really crazy is that like for Halloween, like I use pros all the time in all of my Halloween stuff.
There you go. Here you go.
Goosebumps. Insane. I love it.
Yeah. So that's the message for today from this conversation for you.
Right.
For the audience going forward, just do not be afraid to pivot as Allie has shown throughout her story. Don't hesitate. Go ahead and do it. Moving in the direction that feels right for you.
Yeah.
Um,
Because I
yeah,
pivoted a lot. Like it was, if
yeah,
it wasn't watercolor or canvases or globes, then I pivoted to wedding invitations. Then I
yeah.
was doing like um hand painted jackets. I did like 500 hand painted jackets one year.
Oh, wow, wow.
But it started because I was going to a party and I was like, I'm just gonna hand paint this jacket. And that's how it started. So a lot of the things that I was doing, like I painted my first mural for my studio, and that's how I was able to get into murals. I painted jackets, that's how I was able to get that. I took a chance on myself, and that's how I was able to do those books. So it always people are like, oh, I don't know how to pivot, or they try too hard to pivot, right? Where they're
Yeah,
like, okay, I need to make this business plan, I need to do this because I need to pivot. Sometimes those just don't work. Just like with like, oh, you need to look into Patreon. I've tried multiple times to pivot in that direction, and I tried too hard and it wasn't fulfilling because
yeah,
I was trying to make it work too much. And it didn't work out. And so when people come to me and they're like, okay, um, maybe I need to pivot, maybe I need to quit my job, maybe I need to do this and X, Y, Z. Like it has to start, at least for me personally, it has to start for myself first, then
yes.
the right, and then it will be a much stronger connection and more longevity when it starts out that way versus trying to do it for someone else.
No, absolutely. 100% you are on the money.
Yeah. And
That's
and if you're pivoting because to make money, it will never work. It'll
right.
never work. I try to tell people that all the time. I was like, you'll either burn out or it just won't. It might be great for a while, but the longevity of it will never come into fruition. Like
Yeah,
I tell
yeah,
people all the time that I feel like my business really started to pop off when I stopped thinking about how much money I could make versus like what I'm more motivated by the experiences and the possibilities versus how much money I can make. And the minute I switched my mindset to that, I have made more money than have ever in my career. So
huge highlight moment again for the
yeah,
audience and the creatives is that shift in thinking.
yes,
Is being able to shift into that definitely opens up the funnel, so to speak.
yeah. My
Um,
husband will sometimes get into, they'll be like, well, what's the ROI on that? And I'm like, it doesn't necessarily have to be money. Like
yeah,
there are ROIs of connection or ROIs of nurturing a relationship or ROIs of pushing myself to do something that I've never done before. Those are the things I'm thinking and looking at before I even think about how much money I'm going to make or is this enough to pay my bills for the month.
yeah, yeah. When you mentioned the jackets,
Yeah.
it triggered a memory of what I was one of the things I was looking at while I was before I reached out to you.
Yeah, I know, because it's like crazy. Like when you first are like, oh, fashion, jackets didn't even come up to my mind, but I was like, I guess I did paint hundreds and hundreds of jackets. Yeah,
Yeah, and did you do some work with Travis Austin
I
Customs?
have. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. He went to school not far from where I live,
Oh, interesting.
one
That's
of the local community colleges.
what a small world.
Yeah. Um, and I'm pretty sure that he's from here as well. I know he was in.
Yeah, I don't know too much about. I've only done a couple of things, and he's moved off, so I'm not quite sure. I don't keep up with him. Um,
Gotcha.
that much, so not quite sure what he's doing or whatnot. But
Makes sense.
yeah,
I've followed him for a while and seen that happen a few times.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I
for
get
sure.
it. Um, Alli, this was truly amazing. I
Seriously,
appreciate
I
you taking
honestly, I'm a little sad that it's over.
the Well, hey,
I
we
could
can
probably
always
do
do
it all
part
day.
two, part
Hey,
three.
let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm so
fantastic.
down.
One of the things I always want to remind the audience at each one of these end of each one of these episodes is a key thing that I've seen play out through your story today, is that for the audience, I want you to always to remember, listen to your heart,
Hmm.
but also be kind to your mind.
Yes, truly.